Relations between Israel and the U.S. Jewry can be strengthened by increasing efforts to reach out to young, unaffiliated American Jews. This according to Malcolm Hoenlein, the executive vice chairman of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. Hoenlein also spoke about Israel's role in the U.S. presidential elections.
Foreign affairs has not been a primary focus. It has been raised in some of the debates, but Israel is not a subject of difference. All of the candidates have put forward pro-Israel positions. Some have long histories of being very pro-Israel, very supportive, and I think that none of the candidates today would express an anti-Israel point of view.
Well, you can't really be anti-Israel and be elected president, can you?
Well, you never know what the real views are until they're in office and get to see what they do, because they never love us in January the way they do in November. But I agree with that. The American people would not tolerate it. 3/4 of the American people today stand by Israel, support Israel, want the association, want the President of the United States to be a strong advocate for Israel. So I think your comment is right, that people look at some of the tensions, some of the glitches that occur with every president, and not just this one. You know, even with Reagan, that people look at. We had Bitburg, you had the AWACS fight, you had with every president differences of view, which is going to be natural in such a close and intense and significant relationship. And I think every president has to look at the U.S.-Israel relationship as a key asset of the United States, not just of Israel.
Come, you have your finger on the pulse of U.S. Jewry. How can you stem this tide of American Jews who are increasingly don't identify with Israel, particularly after some seemingly anti-democratic bills by current government ministers?
Well, first of all, most Americans aren't engaged, Jews are not engaged in the minutiae of what legislation or not. That plays out at a more elite level, a higher level. It's a matter of concern. People often respond to things out of ignorance or out of passion or compassion or a particular point of view, and sometimes out of their concerns because they come with a perspective. But we always have to look at it in the context of what's going on here. We can't judge everything just by American standards. We have to understand and help sensitize and educate people here, government officials, others, about what the implications, how things are viewed on the other side. It's not enough that you're right. You have to also be seen as right. And that's true in terms of our actions, in terms of the policies, and again, and legislation that's adopted here. We always have to think about how do you play it, how do you present it so people understand what's really at the core. I think that most American Jews remain committed to Israel. Is there alienation? Is there indifference? Yes, but it's true across the board. People are not concerned. Young people about foreign affairs, they're not concerned about history. They don't get into the issues in depth. And this is the great challenge of our time, is the apathy and indifference. It's been true throughout history. Those are the challenges you can't just dismiss and overcome. You have to address, and that means education, it means investment, it means sensitizing, it means using the new media and the old media, it means bolstering the broadcast from Israel, it means and our Hasbara efforts. It has to be a comprehensive look at how we do things, what we say, what we do, and how do people understand it. And we cannot write off any segment of the population, and nor take any segment for granted.
Finally, I know that you meet with Israeli leaders. Can you maybe share with us a little bit of their concern about where U.S. Jewry is going in its relationship with Israel? What are they asking from you?
Well, they're very concerned about BDS, and they see the rise of anti-Semitism in the United States as is in Europe, not to the same degree, but 75% of American Jewish students say that they witnessed or experienced anti-Semitism on a campus. That's an alarming figure. I think that they are concerned about disaffection and recognize that this is a great asset of Israel, is the diaspora and our political involvements in America and in other democratic countries. I think that they want to see how bridges can be built. It has to be a two-way bridge, meaning bringing more people here, and we have programs bringing all sorts of influentials from every sector of American society. We are working on a wide variety of programs, and I have to say this government is very interested, very committed to it. I hope there'll be more coordination in the efforts and see to it that we unify everything so that there isn't duplication, but applying the resources in the most effective way.
Malcolm Hoenlein, thanks again for joining IBA News.
You're welcome.
Following a quick